Now, at the weekend, Louise Redknapp gave an interview and she gave some advice. She said that anybody considering running from a relationship, she said that you should slow down because once you've run too fast, you can't make up the ground you've lost. Now, if you think about it, we get sort of cooling off periods if we're buying, say, a vacuum or taking out an insurance policy. So maybe there should be a cooling off period before you actually filed for a divorce. What do you think, Gloria?
Well, it might not be a bad idea, because I think there's a general feeling that divorce is just too easy these days. Whereas, you know, centuries ago, virtually, people just stuck it in. They stayed in the marriage for the sake of the children, etc. And then you had Pamela Anderson on the programme the other day, who's just married for the 5th time. And going way back, Elizabeth Taylor, who married 8 times. But I think that Louise has raised an issue, because she says that she lost herself. She was almost 40. She then, you know, had her 2 children, married to Jamie, of course, then went into Strictly, loved the fun, loved the glamour, felt good about herself, you know, and looked really very good. And then, of course, she took a very snap decision, it would appear from the papers and everything anyway, and they split. But one quote that she said was, she said, look, I ran as fast as the wind, but maybe I should have paused a while, and I wish that I'd tried. So I ended up getting the feeling that there was a real sadness there, that she hadn't tried more. And the only other point I'd put in is that divorce and marriages and everything has now become just an entertainment program. You take Married at First Sight in Australia, in Canada, in America, and here. It's such a popular program. So these people meet for the first time, get married, and so what?
I suppose that's a bit like an arranged marriage, although, as you say, for entertainment, maybe that's a different argument. But this policy of the cooling off period is as of 1st of Jan, Chinese citizens seeking a mutual divorce must wait 30 days before they can actually officially file for that divorce. So, Janet, would that have saved any of your marriages?
I doubt it very much, because once I made my mind up, that's it. You know, they're over. That's it. No going back. In a couple of them, I had men who changed their minds, but I didn't change mine. They said, you know, they'd forgive and forget, because I was always the one in trouble.
But you see, now, if you were in China then, so under that policy, if one of them changed their minds, you'd have to reset back to 30 days again, to give you 30 days to discuss it. Even if you want it and they don't.
But my marriage isn't like one of those oven timers. I mean, that does sound like a gadget I've got to keep resetting, or like the central heating. I mean,
I think there's an argument, though, for in that period that if you think like that, then mediation.
Oh, mediation's a washout with me. I mean, mediation with number, whatever it was, 4... I mean, I went to mediation. I went alone, he went alone, then we went together. And when I went through the door of the counsellor, he ran down the corridor and locked himself in the lavatory and said, if that what's-it's coming here, I'm not coming out of the bathroom. So, also, be realistic. How much can you change a man over 40? And also, how much can I change? Not very much.
We could perhaps say, Janet, you're an anomaly. Maybe it works for some people. What do you think, Bren?
Well, I think from my own personal experience, I was asked for a divorce once, and then I kind of started looking into it, and then the person came back and said, actually, I didn't mean it. And so I guess what Louise, where Louise is concerned, you know, something's happened and you make a hasty decision, or you say something in the heat of the moment, and then you take it all back. For me personally, as you know, once you say something, you can't take that back. And something as serious, if you're very serious about marriage, you know, something as serious as I want a divorce is not to be taken lightly. So if you can't do, in that 30-day cooling period, if you can't go and see, you know, a counsellor, if you don't want to go and see a counsellor, should I say, then, you know, you haven't got...
You'd be pointless going to counsellor. You just said you're not going to change your mind either.
Yeah, no. Communication, what I mean is you can have the... I think you wouldn't get to that point if more people had communication. Just based on my own personal experience, the breakdown for me was because of a lack of communication.
Well, can I tell you something? Live on television, I get on better with you, Brenda, than some of the men that I've been married to. And I certainly get on better with Brenda, Jane and Gloria. And one of the most amazing things about about marriage is you're married and you're not talking the same language. You are on two different wavebands.
Yes, that's...
And then counselling can't blend you back together. You made a mistake.
Gloria, in autumn this year, we've got no-fault divorce coming in the UK. Where do you stand on that?
Well, I think a lot of people already had just waited the designated time, whether it was 2 years if both wanted to get the divorce, or whether it was 5 years of just waiting and doing whatever it is you were doing. So we sort of had, in a way, that no fault, a take on it anyway, in the past, and still do. But I want to ask Janet a question. So you were married, is it 4 or 5 times, Janet?
4 times, but every time you say I'm going to ask Janet a question, I'm getting anxious, Gloria.
I know, but I really want to know this, Janet, because you've got a lot of experience, which I haven't got. So I really want to learn.
I've got a lot of experience, yeah.
So is there one husband that you would look back, I mean, just as Louise Redknapp said in that article, and say to yourself, I wish I had tried harder?
Oh, good question.
I tried harder. Gloria, what's wrong with the question is, what about them trying harder so that I didn't stray off the path? I mean, there's two sides to this. And in marriage, I've got to say my motto is, what's good about yourself? Look after yourself. Protect yourself. You know, it's not all about...
But then you don't have to have an... You don't have to have an affair.
Doormat.
Well,
She got out of that question very nicely because we've run out of time.